All right, man. Oh yeah. So last week when we were discussing, I told you to pin the little this little situation about men and why do we allow our pride to have us chasing the wrong kind of love instead of chasing the right kind of love that we all say we want.
Okay. So give me an example of what you're talking about.
Well, example of what I'm talking about is about 6 hours ago I posted my Wednesday isms, and I was basically the same topic. It was good love versus bad love. And I broke down what is good love. Good love is understanding. Good love is a leaning post for you and your partner. Good love is communication. Good love is allows you to stay focused on things that are at hand. Good love is there when you're sick. Good love is there when you're not feeling your best. Good love is there when you need someone to motivate you and push you. Now we have this bad love. And this is what a lot of us chase because bad love is attractive. And what I mean by that is we will forego everything that we say, and especially us men, we'll forego everything that we say that we want for an attractive woman. She don't return your phone calls, or she keeps your text messages on red. She don't if you ask her to do something for you, she don't do nothing for you, but she's pretty. So you allow her to continue to not give you the things that you want and that you say that you want from a woman due to the fact that she is pretty. So that is bad love because it's not there for you. You're chasing that. You're chasing something that obviously does not want you in return.
I mean, so I think part of the problem for men is that society puts in front of us that they kind of set the beauty standard for what we believe a good woman is, right?
Yeah.
And they understand that we're visual creatures, and so that's why you get the skinny blondes, boobs, but swimsuit bikinis and all these other things that we see on a daily basis. So it imprints on our mind that that is what we should be going out for. But what I would believe is that men grow up thinking that that's what a good woman is. That's what she has to be beautiful. She has to be big boobs, big butt. And therefore, they don't pay any attention to the qualities of the individuals that they're chasing. And so, obviously, we're visual creatures. And so we see what we see from afar. But I don't think that we even take the time to even ask the right questions to get to know those individuals. And
Right.
so I don't even think we're taught what type of questions that we need to be asking in order to, figure out if this woman is of any quality. How do you make a decision on who's a good person for you and who's not a good person for you?
Well, that's a good question. How? Everybody have an answer till it's time to give an answer. And what I mean by that, we people got all kind of opinions until it's time to actually put that opinion to work. Uh, when it comes to women, I mean men, and being taught things, like you said, society has driven us. Society for the male not supposed to cry. When you growing, boy, you fall and say, boy, get up, don't say nothing, don't, you bet not cry. That's from the father and some mothers too. They tell the kid, you bet not cry. A young man, you bet not cry. And so we are taught the typical man values and how to act as a man, but we're not taught how to relay that and form a relationship. The best way I know how to correct this is you got to see it. And we don't see a lot of two-parent households now. You don't see how mom treats dad. In some cases, you see, if you don't see your dad, you see your mom, and then 2 or 3 years she's dating James, then that breaks up. In 2 or 3 years, you see her with Brian, and that lasts for a quarter minute. You don't get married, so you don't realize that these kids are seeing that. So subconsciously, it's like, okay, I spend this much time with a woman, then I can move on. I spend this much time with a woman, I can move on because a lot of kids learn, you know what I'm saying, not too much about being told, but they learn by seeing what's going on. You put a kid that's crawling in a daycare with kids that's walking, ironically, in probably about 2 to 3 weeks, that kid is going to start walking because they see the other little kids walking. You know what I'm saying? And so what a child sees and absorbs, because a child is a computer, it's a RAM. They absorb all this information. And so what they're seeing is they're not seeing stable relationships anymore. They're seeing, turn the page, here's a new girl, new one, new man. So it's that's starting to play in their minds. Okay, I have a chance to be with this one. Okay, so we can move on to the next woman. And so until we correlate this and bring back the so-called nuclear family, this is going to be a thing that we're probably going to continue to see. You're going to see a man chase a woman because she's beautiful. Right? You have the so-called mid girl over here who's willing to do everything that she can to make him happy, but he's going to overlook that at first until something tragic happens to him. He gets down to his last dollar. Then we were like, oh man. Yeah, he gets injured in a car accident and realizes that who's going to be there for him. Until something tragic happens to a man, he don't realize that the pretty girl who is not being reciprocal with love that you're showing her, that's not the woman for you. And because the woman for you is going to make herself accessible to you, and vice versa. The man for you women are going to make himself accessible to you. And if you have to chase, if you have to prove, if you have to do everything else other than be yourself and give 100% of you, that's not the love that you should be chasing.
Okay, so I am on board with 100% of what you just said. However, what I would add to it is that I think the combination of education, like verbal education, is equally as important. And here's the reason why I say that is because things in society and in life are changing so fast at such a rapid pace that as a father, right, I have to be cognizant of what my son's generation is doing, right? Because he's a 15-year-old boy, right? And my 5-year-old son is going to be in a different spot when he hits 15 than my 15-year-old is now. So he watches me and his mother's relationship. He also watches me and my wife's relationship. But for him, what I was taught coming up is very different from what he's going to experience going into his 20s and 30s. And so I, as his father, have to have sit downs with him and educate him on how things are progressing and changing within the dating dynamics and the relationship dynamics for his age group, right? Because here's the mistake that was made for our generation. We were taught certain things by visual, right? As you stated, we saw how our parents interacted or didn't interact with each other. And that kind of set the foundation for our beliefs. So I'll use me as an example. I don't know my biological father, but I know my dad. My dad came into my life when I was 4 or 5, and he raised me and my sister. He adopted us when they got divorced, and he's been dad, right? But understand that we're not his biological children. We didn't come from him, but he raised us, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have biological children of his own. So we're his only children. So in my mind, growing up, that was okay. It was okay for me to be accepting of a woman that had children until I dated a woman that had children. And although I had children of my own, her children had no discipline, to the point where I told her, I said, I don't think we're going to be able to continue to date because I can't bring my children around your children because I don't want my children acting like yours. And so I don't think that had I been taught what the reality of it is when engaging with women that have children, what type of things that you could potentially be running into or experiencing, I would have probably less likely been willing to jump into that. But in my mind, I remember that my father took on me and my sister, and he raised us, so it was acceptable. But in reality, it's really hard. It's really hard, and so and keep in mind that was from visual, right? There was no education done on that, and so it set me up for failure in that department.
Right,
And
right.
although that's a small department, because I really didn't date a whole bunch of women with children, it's just an example. Whereas now, and things were changing relatively slow during that time frame. Whereas now things are changing even faster with the advent of social media. And so I think adding in that verbal education piece is key for men to be able to make good choices in women.